Welcome to the channel. Got a very pretty, really nice looking top here. Epiphone Les Paul Standard Honeyburst. Very cool Honeyburst finish. Really like, always have liked these Gibson style knobs. And this is a 2009, so just picked it up very, very cheap on Marketplace. You can see it was strung uniquely, we'll say. And overall in pretty good shape. We've got one little issue with the fretboard there, but I think it's just like dirt or something that we'll be able to clean. But we'll show you how I clean this thing up and get it back to as close to showroom new as we can. So you can see a lot of dust and dirt and grime, and these strings are really gross. Very common story from the seller. Picked up an entire guitar rig. So this guitar, a very cheap little practice amp and a handful of pedals. Thought he would learn guitar, lost interest. And years later, after this had sat in the case, but still sat for several years in a closet, he sold it to me for very little money. We do have a little bit of checking and swirling in the back finish here, which leads me to think guy actually played it a little bit. Probably bought it new from Guitar Center. I didn't check in the case. It might even be a receipt still in there. But somebody played it at least a little bit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any of that swirling or checking on the back at all. But really nice shape on the back. Tuners are in good shape. Just dirty. Everything's just dirty. Also notice I'm paying attention to this a lot more often. Even this Epiphone, which only retails for like 450 bucks or something, this Epiphone is a recessed cavity cover on both of them. It is wild to me that there are guitars out there in the thousands of dollar range that don't recess that control cavity plate. That's just wild. But anyways, we got all our lutherie supplies there. We'll clean that up. Step one is obviously cut these strings off. I will wash the tailpiece and the bridge there. They're pretty gross. So a little bit of warm water and a little bit of dish soap, and just let them soak for like 10 minutes, and then use a toothbrush to brush them clean and dry them off. And then I've shown you this before. I really like the Fender guitar polish here. This is literally just, you can see it, white mineral oil. There's nothing else in here. Any white mineral oil will do. It doesn't have to say Fender on it, of course. But we'll use that on the body, and then we'll likely use some actual wax on the back of the guitar, but we'll see. And then fast fret for this very dry, dehydrated fretboard and polish up these frets. So I don't think this thing is played nearly enough to have any wear at all on the frets. They all feel great. Yeah, the frets are brand new. Nut feels really good too. So don't think we need a whole lot of work there. We will pull these knobs off. Assuming they come off easy, we'll pull the knobs off so we can really get underneath them as well. We might pull this pick guard off too. It's only 2 screws, really easy to do. All right, we will show you once that's done. All righty, we've got this thing looking just gorgeous. Need to hit the pickup covers here just a little bit more. I've only hit them like once or twice. These chrome covers are always a lot more stubborn. But the actual Honeyburst finish on this top, beautiful. This is an insane top, considering the retail price of this guitar is like $450. Absolutely downright beautiful finish. Got that headstock looking good. Tuners need a little more polish. I'll hit those one more time. And then the back, looking great. And it's just a mahogany back. You guys have seen those before. But yeah, that finish cleaned up perfectly. Again, with the Fender guitar polish. Knobs look really good. They're a little dusty, but really not bad. And I'll show you how we clean the hardware up here. And shout out to Impending Doom for keeping us company on Easter. Happy Easter, everyone. Always listen to your nice traditional gospel music on Easter. Shout out Impending Doom. But anyways, warm water, not hot, but warm water. A drop of dish soap is all you need. And your hardware goes right inside. So that is, of course, if you didn't see, bridge, tailpiece, and the posts, all 4 posts. Just drop them in and you can kind of see some of that dust and dirt spinning up. And then I've shown you this before on some videos. We use this nifty little spinner agitator thing here, which is actually for coffee, but just to spin the, get the water moving through and everything. And we'll let it soak for not very long, really about 10 minutes or so. That's all it takes. So we let it soak for about 10 minutes, and then I'll just use a little disposable toothbrush and get in those grooves, and they will clean up real well and be nice and shiny. So pick guard here. I need to hit this with the white mineral oil as well. I'll hit that next while these are soaking, and then we'll get the hardware back on and string her up here. Hardware is back on, as you can see. Did the fretboard as well. If you remember that piece of goop that was on the 7th fret, I believe, came right off, no issues there. Headstock looking all nice and shiny. But this guitar is coming along. And honestly, I know I said it in the last one, that top, I really like that. And again, considering the price, you can find a brand new Honeyburst at Guitar Center right now for like $450. Incredible top. Really like that finish. I'm a sucker for light colored guitars, and I really like them when the burst like isn't super dark. Like if it were up to me, honestly, it wouldn't even have the burst. It would just be this like light honey tone all the way through. But everybody likes their burst, of course. So next step, string her up 10 to 46. Toss those on virtually every guitar I have, and we will we'll play a little bit, see how she sounds. Got this very cool Epiphone all cleaned up, strung up, set up. Truss rod is actually perfect, which I expected it to be. This thing is in good shape. Usually you don't have to fiddle with truss rods unless guitar has been at least abused a little bit, or very, very old, though this is a 2009. Just looks beautiful. Man, I can't get over how cool that top is. I don't know, I really like it. This one will probably be a keeper for a little bit before it moves. And you've probably seen, I'll show you my my other Les Paul, the first non-Squire electric guitar I ever acquired. This is a Gibson Les Paul, similar style, that very light color wood, the reddish burst around the edge. I believe this one's called Iced Tea Burst. And this one, the full-on Gibson. The weird one with this, to share just a little bit of maybe, I don't know, a weird-ass hallucination. I have no idea how this happened. In my memory, I got this guitar as a graduation gift from my mom for graduating high school and getting into college. That apparently is not possible because this guitar says Made in USA 2011. And I graduated high school in 2008. And I remember distinctly taking this guitar to college and playing it in college before 2011. Which also, because again, this is the first electric guitar that I got besides my Squire, which by that point, the neck had already kind of, I mean, it was a shitty Squire. It was a 96 Squire. By the time I went to college in 2000, the summer or the fall of 2008, my next door dorm mate taught me how to play metal. And this is the guitar I learned metal on. I would play on this and he'd teach me, Pantera and Lamb of God riffs. So I have distinct memories of playing this all throughout 2009, 2011, 2010, 2012. I don't know how that is possible. I don't think they misstamped the date on this. I just don't know. We'll say it's aliens and leave it at that. But yeah, weird one. This also kind of why I brought it out. We affectionately refer to this guitar as the boat anchor. It is so heavy. Even people who play Les Pauls all the time, they play mine and they're like, what's happened? Like, this thing is immense. So heavy. The only other Les Paul that I've had in recent memory that has come through that I've been able to play was an LTD EC256, which is about the most lightweight Les Paul you could probably ever buy. This thing's pretty light as well. Not super, super light. It's still, heavier than a Strat or a Tele or something like that, but not nearly as bad as the boat anchor. I actually really like this guitar. I've fiddled on it just a little bit, make sure I have the action just right where I like it, and it might be just a touch low, but right now the action is really good. I might change it just a hair later, but let's go ahead and listen to it. So we're just on a clean channel through the Spark 40. And that is tone knobs all the way up on the bridge, the neck. Real jazzy on that neck, love it. Really like that combo. Really nice on that combo position as well. I like that quite a bit. Really nice on that middle position as well. Honestly, just a good sounding guitar all around. And really, if you look at and kind of compare the differences between the Epiphone Les Paul Standard and the Gibson I showed you is a Studio Deluxe, the craftsmanship is really good on both. Honestly, you'd be hard pressed to find a difference in the build quality. The neck, it's finished the same way. It feels really good on both. Actually, I think the Epiphone neck is a little bit thinner than on my Studio there, but really nice finishing on the neck. The tops are similar, but this burst pattern is a little bit different. Doesn't have that red in the outside burst. And then the electronics is really going to be your main difference. That has coil splits, whereas this doesn't. So other than that, it's crazy that it's a $1,500 Gibson versus, $500 Epiphone, and the quality of this. It's even the same style knobs too. You could change that too if you wanted anyways, but same bridge, same knobs, same inlays, same finishing, same, feel to it, same craftsmanship, even the exact same Grover tuners on both. Everything is pretty much identical. except that has the coil splits and the burst bucker, like 460R or whatever. I don't know what their designations are on Gibson pickups. And these are just the Epiphone in-house, like stock pickups. But you could buy a set of those pickups for like $200 or $300 and put them in with the coil splits. And I think you've made yourself a Gibson at that point, which is pretty cool. But this thing, I mean, I really like it on that middle position quite a bit. Really nice playing guitar. I like it on that middle position, and obviously Les Paul, you can do anything. Bluegrass is fine, classical fingerstyle is fine, whatever you want to do. Let's hit a little bit of distortion on here. And you can probably hear the strings are going out a little bit out of tune. I literally put them on less than an hour ago, so don't complain about that in the comments. That was a middle position. On the distortion, I don't hear much difference between bridge and middle, which is weird to me. Usually you can, it's very clear. On the top, much different, but middle, a little bit. Yeah, not super distinct. I imagine these are the exact same pickups, just, you know, in bridge versus neck position.